Hello. So thinking about role-playing games and the significance of role-playing games, and I think that let me readjust this a little bit. Basically, I'm looking at role-playing games, and I'm remembering when I was a child, maybe 8, 9. One of our babysitters, he was a little bit older than us. He was like 2 years older than me, and I was 2 years older than my brother. And he was like, "Do you want to learn geometry or algebra?" And we are like, "Sure, that sounds cool." I was into it. My brother was kind of like, "Okay, cool," but he was kind of like, he's younger. And I mean, I'm like 9 or 8 or something. So like, he's like, "Here's the principles of algebra, and this is a variable." I'm like, "This is fascinating." Tell me more. How's this work? So I got algebra then. I was like 9, and I was like, "I get this. Okay, that makes sense, right?" We got it in school a lot later than that, in LA at least. Um, when I was growing up in Australia, my parents had moved. I didn't have a lot of friends. There was just small classes, so it was like 11 kids, and we all lived far away from each other. And people had like homesteads basically in the outback. Like it's like you can visit. Okay, be careful with the shower. Like if it could come out super hot, you're like, "How hot?" They're like, "Boil your back hot." You're like, "Oh shit, whoa, what the how do you know that happened. The reason I know that is because my friend actually did that. He was not paying attention, turned it on, and fucking boiled himself. Like, gave himself really bad burns on his back. It was fucked up. Anyways, another story. The Outback stories coming soon. Oh my gosh, those Aussies, hey mate, yeah, you got crazy, mate. No, but in a good way. Think men at work. So anyway, um, the band, men at work. D&D. I digress. My D&D stuff started. After teaching us like some algebra, then he was like, "Well, what do you like?" I read voraciously for years, so I was like, "Oh, like he's like, do you want to play a game? It's like storytelling." And you're like, "Okay, but you get to pick what your hero does. You get to be in the story, and you can pick what your hero does." I'm like, "That's fucking genius." Yeah, that sounds fun. So I'm like, "Okay," and he did it, simple. We roll up characters. I think it was like Redbox or maybe a little bit. I can't remember the years. It was 87, maybe 86, 87. So like simple stuff, and we made characters, and we go, okay, and then we did a little bit of an adventure. That was so much fun. We didn't even get to do it for very long. It was like one night, and then he didn't babysit us again. Like after that, I don't remember until. No, I don't think he needed to. Like there was other families that were closer by and stuff. But so me and my class, we had like 11 kids there, and then out of us, there's maybe 5 or 6 that when we did the D&D thing, and Kristan Winifred DM'd the game, and it was this thing where like he had the books. We had never played before. He had never DM'd before. That I know of. Maybe he did. I don't think he did. I think this was his first DMing. Like we're in 3rd grade, like, and he was like, "Check this out, guys." Maybe 4th. You're like, "Wow, okay." It was. I remember the module. It was the Amber module. It was the one that has way too much treasure. That's too randomly good and like can kill you. Like it's so overpowered for like lower level characters, really. And I mean, as a setting, it's they underpowered it for the setting is like these beings were like, you know, bored gods who like, you know, could do whatever they wanted. And so then they had adventures, you know, like, and then normal people just like happen upon them in the forest. There's, hey, nice castle. I'm just gonna like look around. But that was basically the storyline. So we get to the castle, we go through it, we get to this room. At this point, there have been a few different challenges, and Chris Dunn was very good as a DM because he didn't focus on fighting. The problem with D&D as it got older, got more institutionalized, it got more militarized, it got more video gameized. It became much more about like killing things for experience points. You're like, this is supposed to be a story. Like, wait a minute. The good guy's not supposed to kill anybody. Like, oh, you're fucking this up for me. I don't know how to do this now. Right? I mean, if you're like, I was a story reader, so I read all the mythology. Like, we got the mythologies read to us in school, Greek and Norse and Celtic and like, you know, like just whatever the teachers. But basically, there was a regimen. It was Steiner. So there's like a developmental order of like when they introduce different types of stories, German folk tales, like mostly it's all European stuff though. You know, it's with an openness though to where it's like this is just a starter. You know, these are not like the only myths. Look, here's some other myths. They're like these ones except from a different region. So about the same, except like these people call wind Oopla, and these people call wind wind, and still wind. Either way, it's Oopla and wind. Woo. We got that real young. So that changes how you look at your team shit. So anyways, that's a whole different thing. But that's a very interesting discussion, like team ideology, identity, what the significance is in real life and practical, how we treat each other terms and shit. Yeah. I'll tell you, as someone who's never picked a team, like I don't even favor my family. Like I'm like, if you guys are lying or cheating or fucking up, it's on you. Like, you know that, and I'll love you, but like I'll love you from the other side of the bars. You know what I mean? I'm not going in there with you. Like you off, and that's my family's like that, where it's like no. Dignity and, you know, nobility are serious things. That's all we got is our self-respect. In the end, like that's I think a family thing. For my family at least. So D&D, basically he did it well where it was because it was Waldorf, we weren't supposed to be violent, and we didn't have like TVs and stuff, we couldn't watch TV. So it was more folktale-y, and it was much more adventurous, and where it was us running around in a castle like that was empty, be like, ooh, what's over here? Oh look, many pools. I'll drink from one, says the first guy. It's like, oh, me too. I'm like, okay, I want to try. So I'm like, I'm debating about it. I'm totally like, I don't know. This is, so you can go any direction. Then someone gets like a really good thing. Like they drink from the pools, and it's like, it makes you super powered forever. You're like, oh my God, how did that? No kid, okay, so I try one too. Turns out it's random. So roll a D20. You're like, why? I roll a D20. I get a 1 or a 20, or I get something that was significant where you're like, that's either really good or really bad. And I'm like, it's good, right? He's like, yeah, that. Oh man, I'm sorry, man. That was the first time one of my characters ever died. And it was like, trauma. I cried. I was like, I couldn't play for the rest of lunch. I was like, everybody else is still on their adventure fighting treasure and like getting superpowers. And I'm like, okay, I'll just wait here until, could you guys like resurrect me or something? Like, there's a way to do that, right? Isn't it? How's this work? And at that point, I already read the books, and I think I had a few of the books and modules and stuff. And so I was familiar with like how the game worked and stuff, but I never had a D&D person do it before. But it was the first adventure we were in, like that I was in. So he gave us shit like, you can pick your own. And after we went through that part, then he kind of made it up. Like, it was almost like he took the expedition to the Barrier Peaks and revamped it and just like was like, you know what? When you enter the cavern, you look out and you see hundreds of miniature-sized coffins. You're like, okay, like, so do we go in and like kill a bunch of vampires, or like maybe be ambassadors from the humans they eat? Gosh, how we do this, guys. In that part, like, he gave us in the beginning of the adventure, we got to pick 2 items that we could create ourselves. It was 86, 87, maybe 88. My 2 items that I invented were a psionically controlled electronic whip that was like a lightning bolt that you could like wave around. And then it was controlled by your hand, but also the reason I could do it and be safe is because I have psionic powers. But I can't do anything else with them. It only help with the whip. Like, so I didn't cut my own arm off or something. We had to figure something out, right? Oops. Oh, fucked up once. Oh, there goes my arm and half my... Oh, that's my torso. Damn it. I hate it when the whip does that. But, so I just remember that, and then the hover skateboard. I wanted a skateboard that didn't need wheels, and I could just hover around on it and levitate. I wasn't allowed to watch TV yet, so this wasn't from Back to the Future, which I think came out later anyway. But like, that was what, like, we had that type of adventure. After that, like, I mean, during and after, like, then it became us, basically, I read all the time anyway, so I was collecting these books and doing the Fighting Fantasy game books, which were Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston, which are solo game books where you could play D&D by yourself, sort of. Like, not as good, but like, close enough that it's fun.
You want some rainwater for drinking?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
It's from the heavens.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what they're doing up there. I saw a bunch of airplanes. Not as clean as it used to be back in the day.
Anyway, you smoke.
Yep, it keeps me strong. It tempers my lungs and makes them strong.
No oxygen is
Oh, no. It makes it. I know it's supposed to be, but I work backwards somehow.
Oh, okay. You're kind of like other people that I know.
Apparently, you know, it works for me. I used to have actually more trouble breathing. Now my lungs are stronger. I still have a little bit of trouble breathing, but it's more because of my neck. So that's why I stretch all the time. But it's a lot better. My neck's a lot better.
We've been getting some good rain.
Continues to